Hey guys, it's Beth, and today I have a kit kill project share for you using one of my Scrapping for Less Flavor of the Month card kits from December of 2017. And I picked this one because it had a combination of some winter papers and embellishments as well as Valentine's and love type embellishments and papers. So I just wanted to squeeze that in real quick while we were still in that winter Valentine's Day season. And if you don't know anything about the Scrapping for Less Flavor of the Month card kits, this video is not affiliated with them or sponsored by them in any way. I love their kits and pulled one out of my stash. So just wanted to explain a little bit about how they work. Normally in each card kit there are 4 collections, and each collection has 6 different 6x6 patterned paper sheets, and then usually a stamp will come with those. And then there are different levels that you can get of the kit. So if you get the next level up, you get some additional embellishments, sequins, twines, things like that. And then if you keep going up, you can get more stamps, more dies. And then the kit also comes with some envelopes and cardstock for you to use on your card projects. So when I pulled this kit out, there were 2 winter collections that coordinated really, really well. And so because I started paper crafting as a scrapbooker, I looked at these collections and thought immediately I could make a scrapbook out of these together. So that's what I did. So it's a simple, like almost 6x6 scrapbook made out of paper bags, just because I already had a bunch of these put together. And it's 2 paper bags and they are sewn down the middle. I don't know if you can see the stitching. I'm not much of a sewer, but I can sew some paper bags together every once in a while with my sewing machine that hardly ever gets used. So like I said, there were 2 collections. The first was from Echo Park and Cartabella, a combination of their winter lines, and then the other one was from Lawn Fawn, and it was some plaid patterns that coordinated, like the colors coordinated with the Echo Park papers. So on my cover, I'm using it's some Echo Park snowflake paper, and then they gave me with this collection a handful of dimensional stickers, and so this winter banner was one of those dimensional stickers that they provided. And then in my stash I had a handful or a few things that were from Echo Park, that perfect winter collection, like these decorative rub-ons, and then I had some decorative brads as well. And then from another Echo Park winter line, I had this navy blue, dark blue snowflake washi tape. So I did pull some of those out to use on here. For example, this snowman is actually one of the rub-ons that I just put on a white stitched circle die cut. And then these snowflakes are brads that did come in the kit. And so I just used those to embellish around the snowman. So opening up to the first page, this is a pocket page, and this is the Lawn Fawn plaid paper. And you can see how well it coordinates with the Echo Park paper. So I was able to use them together. In my pocket, I just have some photo mats. You can put photos on both sides, and then I made a little journal card using some cardstock layers. And then this winter is in the air, and these 2 snowflakes were rub-ons from my rub-on pack. And then down here to embellish my pocket, like I said, I have some of that Lawn Fawn plaid paper. The snowman was one of the dimensional stickers they provided, and then just some scraps of the paper to make some fishtail banners. On this next page, the stripe paper is from the Echo Park collection, and then just did my photo mat with some layers of white and navy cardstock. And then I did some cardstock snowflakes. In one of the collections, they gave me this little snowflake die. And so it cuts these little intricate snowflakes. And so I just layered a couple of them and then used one of those decorative brads from my stash to hold them together in the center. And then I glued the bottom part down, but I left these popped up so that, you know, when they put their picture in, they can always slide a picture underneath the snowflakes. I left the end of my bags open, just that way people can stick an extra memorabilia or pictures in here, and then I always include some card mats or photo mats in here as well. These snowflakes were actually a punch that I had in my stash, so I just kind of layered those up. There's a little scrap circle of the Echo Park paper. And then this side was some of the strip from the Echo Park paper, and then another one of those snowflake brads. Another photo mat, again with another strip of Echo Park paper, snowflake brad, and then just did some, this is a rub-on that says "Baby, it's cold outside," and I just did a white circle and scalloped and kind of put it off the edge a little bit. The next page, this is a combination of some of the Lawn Fawn plaids, and it is a flip up element. And I do have a couple snowflake rub-ons here just to kind of embellish the background in a subtle way. Like you can hardly see them unless you're up close. And then I used some of that washi tape as my handle for my flap to lift up. And then over here this is Echo Park paper. And normally when I do my paper bags, I will glue this flap from the end of the bag down, just so it's like one solid page. But every once in a while, I like to do it in a layered look, so that way, you know, you can have a picture peeking from behind either another picture or some pattern paper, just to give it a little bit different feel, like a different page feel, like from the rest of the pages in the book, and a kind of a more interactive element. So anyway, this was the Echo Park paper, and I had a rub-on that matched those owls. So I put him down here with a little white strip for some journaling, and then this is just some blue cardstock from my stash, and I took a little piece of that, cut into some little triangle page corners. This page, just a normal flat page, I just did a single layer white cardstock for my photo mat on top of this Echo Park snowman paper. And this winter sticker was one of their dimensional stickers that they included in the collection. Here's another one of those snowflake die cuts, and I layered it on some of that Lawn Fawn plaid paper. And again, I left my snowflake, it's not glued down, over the paper. I did one more pocket page in here with some more cardstock photo mats. And then I did another journal card. And this time I used, this image is from my silhouette, and I just printed it out in kind of a coordinating color and put it on the cardstock. And then my pocket down here is embellished. This is a strip of that same paper. Actually, this is the tearaway strip at the top of the paper, and you know, it's got that hole where they hang their 6x6 pads from, and so the hole is back behind my circle element here, but I just wanted a little strip of paper to go across the center to anchor my circle and my snowflake. So that little tearaway strip worked perfect. The tags on the end of this one, it's just some of the Echo Park patterned paper and another little die cut snowflake. And then I used just some of the washi tape to embellish that page. And then this one is just another little strip from that snowflake paper on the front. And then this was the last of the dimensional stickers, and he's not really dimensional, but it was included on that little piece of dimensional sticker pack that I got. And then I did some more of the washi tape here, overlapped one on the edge and cut that just so it was a different width, and then layered it with some pattern paper strip. And then on the very back here is a piece of the Echo Park pattern paper with like the wood grain and then this different winter images. I really liked that paper. So that was my scrapbook, and I had a good amount of paper left when I was done, and so I was able to make 8 cards out of it as well. The stamps that they included with these collections, one was this Lawn Fawn, it says Winter Fox stamp, cute little fox, and the sentiment says warm winter wishes. And then in the Echo Park one was this My Favorite Things stamp, and she is called Ice Skater. And her sentiments say, "Have an ice day," and "You glided right into my heart." So the first set of cards I did, I used the sketch from the Sweet Shop, and it's number 117. And I used the little ice skater, and I stamped her and her sentiment, "Have a nice day," on the same piece of cardstock to use as one single element. And then I colored her in with colored pencils because I don't have Copics that match like these shades of aqua or blue. I don't have the Copics that match those. So, but I have tons of colored pencils in these shades. And then for the card mat, I just kind of like here, instead of doing a single sheet, I used these two patterns and just, made them opposite, so it could use the equivalent of one 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece. And then I just embellished her with some sequins. And on the inside, she just has a pattern strip at the bottom. The next card I did use the Sweet Sunday sketch number 220. And this one is actually a shaker. When I was cutting out the snowflakes using this die, I actually had some that had a good amount of space around them, so I figured I could use them as an element somewhere in a card or in the album. So with this one, I cut it into a circle and then decided to make a little shaker, which it really needs some more sequins in there. It's not very shakeable. But I just put a little piece of the Lawn Fawn plaid behind it, and then a little strip of the Echo Park snowflake pattern paper there, and then this Warm Winter Wishes is from the Fox stamp set. And I did do another shaker because from the turquoise cardstock, I did have a couple of snowflakes that were spaced really well. And so I just cut around them to make my element, and then I did a shaker. This one could still use more sequins, but it does shake better. And then I pulled from my stash this chevron embossed dark blue cardstock, and then I have another couple of layers of white and gray underneath here, under my shaker element. And then again, just use that Warm Winter Wishes stamp. And here is the Fox, the actual stamp itself. She's really cute. And I colored her up with colored pencils again, just because I had more shades of gray in my pencils than I did my Copics. And when you get the kits, you can download a sketch sheet. And so I used the sketch number 4. It doesn't have information, but it is just kind of like a series of circles. And so instead of a circle here for my center one, I used an oval so that I could fit my Fox on there that I fussy cut out. And instead of putting the sentiment up here like the sketch called for, I made it one of my little bubbles in the background. And I did 2 of those. And this last one was just using up some of the scrap pieces that I had. There's 2 pieces of that Lawn Fawn plaid here, it's separated with a little gap. And then I backed that on some gray cardstock that they included in the kit. And this Happy Happy Birthday is from my silhouette that I printed out, and then just use some of my scraps down here, the fishtails. And he's just got the banner in there. And so I did have a bunch of these little strips left, not enough to make another card. So I just decorated up some envelopes that will go with those cards. So like I said, they coordinated really well, and I loved using them together. So what I have left from those collections are sequins. I used almost one whole bag of sequins, and had I filled them a little fuller like I should have, I probably could have used all of this and probably most of this, but I don't know, I don't think to use sequins very much, and if I do, I never use enough. And then they also included these cute little rosettes with the Echo Park line, and I didn't use those, but I'm sure I will because I do love them. So the next 2 collections were Valentine's Day love themed, like I mentioned before. And continuing on my theme of looking at this kit a little differently, I did the scrapbook with the first 2 kits. This one I decided to do some other fun projects before I got into the cards. So I made 2 wine bottle tags, and I just used this little template that I have in my stash. And so the cardstock layer, which I used some 110 pound cardstock, but I just made it, it's like 3 by 9 inch strips. And then I used my die, circle die, to cut a hole up here for the bottle, and then I score it at 3 inches from the top. So that's what these guys are. So this allowed me, I could get 2 tags out of each 6x6 sheet of paper. And so I cut my pattern paper, it's like just shy of 3 inches and just shy of 6 inches. And then this collection also came with some little Valentine's Day word stickers, as well as this glittery heart piece up here. And then I don't know if you can see the twine very well, but it's really pretty, like red, white, and pink twine. So I just popped my heart on foam to go over the twine that I wrapped around. And there was only one of these hearts, and so I found some gold glitter cardstock in my stash to cut a heart for my second one. So I got the 2 wine tags. And then this is, by the way, this is Cartabella, no, Crepe Paper Main Squeeze is the name of this paper line. And they had this cute paper with all these cute little animal heads, the fox, the dog, cat, llama, super cute. So I decided to make some Post-it notepads. And this just uses, and this is like curved, so I need to fix that so that will stay in there. But it's just a 3x3 Post-it pad. And I used, again, 110 pound cardstock as the base for my cover. And this is like just a really simple cover. And this is another template that I've had for a while. But this one ends up being, it's like 3 1/4 inches wide by 7 inches tall. And then you score at 3 1/4 from both ends. And so I knew I wanted to try to get 2 pad covers from 1 sheet of this paper. And so knowing that my cover base was 3 1/4 inches wide, I needed something that was going to be like 3 1/8. And so if I cut my pattern paper down to that, like I was only going to get 1. So long story long, really, I used some coordinating red cardstock as a layer to go like an 1/8 inch in from my cover. And then that way I could cut my paper into 4 3x3 inch squares, so I could get the front and the back for both of these. And then I didn't have any of this left really, so I just pulled some gold polka dot ribbon from my stash and wrapped it around the top. And then after that, after those 2 projects, I still got 10 cards. Kind of start from the back here, but this stamp that came with this collection was this cute little girl and her hedgehog, and it's a collectible rubber stamp from Santoro. And it's number 35, the Friendly Hedgehog. And so I colored her up in a couple different ways to coordinate with this paper, this kind of reddish pink splotchy paper. And I followed their sketch number 3, which is a Mojo Monday sketch number 490. And I actually did have some Copics that matched this one, so I colored her like basic Copic coloring. I didn't really do a whole lot of shading, just some basic coloring. Colored her to coordinate with this paper, and then added a little birthday wishes circle sentiment over here. And the inside is just birthday sentiment stamp and some cardstock strip. This is the one I did first, and she's actually, it's a little bit textured white cardstock, just to give her clothes and stuff some texture. But she wasn't very bright, and so that's why I switched, found some Copics that did coordinate well. So I got 2 of those. The next round of cards I did kind of followed their sketch number 2, which is from Cards TV, but there's no like sketch name really. And instead of the strips that it showed as for the card mat, I just did a single sheet of card mat, like from one single sheet of paper. And then I coordinated these two. I tried to coordinate. So like when I cut my mat down, I used the strip that was left to be the center element on the other card. So these cards like kind of work together. And then this one was just a little gold shiny heart that came as one of the extra embellishments in this collection. And then here's another one of those little Valentine's word stickers. And then I just used some patterned paper on the inside of those. And this one is the same design, same layout, but it used some felt stickers, some felt hearts that they gave me in the collection, and then another Valentine's word sticker down here. And I just layered those on some cardstock that coordinated with that fun lips paper. And then these two, we're just trying to use up some of those scraps that I had. And so they're like the exact same layout. And this I Love You is from a stamp set that I have from TPC Studios that you saw in my last video. And then just to fill some white space down here, I added some heart punches out of cardstock. And then the inside just has some heart punches. I have another one where I was just trying to use up the last larger scraps that I had. And so these were the same size, so I just cut two pieces of cardstock, coordinating cardstock down to match the size of those, and then put it in a little grid pattern, added some white heart punches that were in my stash already, and then just did hugs and kisses as my sentiment down here on this strip. And just got a cardstock strip on the inside, and then these two were the last scraps that I had. And these little strips are actually from the tear apart strip at the very top of each page. So it also had a hole in the center of the strip, and so I cut on either side of the hole, and then this is the width that I was left with. So I was able to do one card, like do one half of the strip on each card. And the same thing, I just did my hugs and kisses sentiment down here, and then I added a cardstock heart that matched whatever my card mat was. And there's just patterned strips in those. So there were 10 cards from that line. And then the last collection is from Simple Stories, and it is the Love and Adore collection. And the stamp it came with was like this owl, and it's a Brutus Monroe stamp, and the sentiment is I'll always love you. And the name of the stamp is actually I'll love you. And so decided these two are pretty much the same layout, and I kind of feel like this was the last collection I used, and I feel like once I got to this point, I was out of energy and creativity. So a lot of these are just kind of a basic, simple layout. And because the paper itself included some cut aparts and border strips, so that made it easy to do this one really quickly. So I did have like this rose color. I did have like that rosy pink color in my Copic markers, and so I did a little pink one for her and then a gray one for him, and then these two are both gray. And then I did the Owl Always Love You. I put them on the same mat, but then separated them a little bit just to give it a little bit more interest, but then just backed it on that gray and then the pattern paper. This one I was going to do something different with, but I didn't like the way it looked, so I ended up doing it the same way. And there wasn't really any sketch for that. It was just like a basic card. This was from one of the sheets that had some border strips. It had this element and then some border strips on it. And so I left one of the border strips with it to make it like it's 4.5 by 6.5, I think is the end size of the card. And then I punched out a heart from another scrap of the border strips that I had left, and then layered another little pink heart sticker on the inside there. And then this XO, it was a border strip scrap that I had left, and just decided to use that as the sentiment on the inside. And then there were a few ephemera pieces that came with this collection. And so this Happy Valentine's Day tag and heart and arrow were two of the ephemera pieces. And so I kind of had an idea when I saw these two, I had an idea in my head for how I wanted the card to go. And so it was everything but the doily. And then I realized it was just too much pink heart behind the top of the tag. And so I pulled out from my stash, it's just a Dollar Tree paper doily, just to give it a little bit of interest in the background there and kind of mute some of the sea of pink hearts. But I think that one's cute. I liked how it turned out. And then these were two cut aparts. And so again, keeping it simple, I just grouped them together on one mat and then backed it with some of that rose pink cardstock just to bring out the pink on it a little bit. And then it doesn't have a sentiment or anything, but it has like some extra. I probably could have eked out one more card with some of the strip pieces that I had left at the end, but like I said, I was kind of tired and done. So the insides may have some extra pieces of scrap on the inside to embellish them. And then this little guy, Be Mine Sunshine, was the other piece of ephemera that they included, and I thought he was pretty cute. And so I had two strips of pattern paper, this long pattern paper left, and so I put them together for a card mat and then just kind of used this black cardstock strip to hold it together, because like there's a little gap here. Like I wanted it to be not much of a white border around the card mat, so there's a gap here in the middle that I just covered with the black cardstock, and then just use some white cardstock at an angle to back that little sunshine, and then did some pink cardstock punches. And then these were some of the square cut aparts that they had, and so I just grouped them together in kind of a little grid pattern, and then did some of the coordinating. I had a strip that coordinated with this little love piece down here, and so then I just added a black and pink heart on top of there. And again, use that XO border strip on the inside as kind of decoration and sentiment. And this one too, like I had this cut apart left, and I think one of these, this one may have been a cut apart, but I think it was yellow or something, so it just didn't fit with everything else I had, so I just used the back side, the XOs. And then this was part of the border strip cut apart page. I think this said, "You'll be my always," or "You are my always," and so I just cut it down so that it just says "My always" and then the XO. And then again, I have a strip down here. This is that shimmery pink. And then a little white cardstock heart from my stash. And then I had punched a heart out of here to go on that large card here. And so I just trimmed this down to make a little frame, and then just stamped "Be Mine" as the sentiment on the inside of there. So some fun, cute Valentine's Day and winter projects came out of this kit. I loved it. And then what I had left from the Valentine's collections, I had like both package of sequins. I didn't even think to use those. There's one felt heart sticker, which I will totally use going forward, as well as this little strip of heart stickers I will totally use. So let me know what your favorite project was, card or like one of the other projects. Let me know what your favorite was down in the comments below. Hopefully you got some last minute winter Valentine's ideas, and maybe got some ideas, different ideas on how to use up your card kits in a different way other than cards. So like I said, these kits are great to make cards with. That's usually what I do. Just for some reason I kind of got on that different track when I saw those winter collections. I knew I wanted to make a scrapbook. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay tuned for more ideas. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye. Here were all the collections that were included in this kit. This first was the Cardabella Echo Park line. Here were all the wonderful plaids by Lawn Fawn. Here were the Simple Stories, I Adore You papers, as well as the goodies in that collection. And this last collection was the one from Crate Paper. And then in the kit, they also included several pieces of cardstock for us to use, both white and colors. And then these were all the goodies I made with this kit. I am so excited. Love them. Thanks again for watching.